Hello everyone, my name is Harjeet Judge and I work for SAP. Today I'm going to show you how to install SAP Business Objects Design Studio. Design Studio installation is made up of two components. First component is what's called SAP Business Objects Design Studio BI Platform add-on. The BI Platform add-on is what makes it possible to display and execute analysis applications in BI Launchpad. It's also the component that allows for communication between the Design Studio client and the BI Platform server in order to save and launch analysis applications in the Design Studio client. The Design Studio BIP add-on has to be installed on a host machine that has BI Platform server pre-installed. The add-on installation requires that the BI Platform server at least have Service Pack 5, and since BI4 installation requires a 64-bit OS, it goes without saying that the Design Studio BI Platform add-on will also need a 64-bit OS. It's also important that the user running the installation has administrator rights on the server. I would recommend running the installation with the same user ID that was used to install the BI Platform server. Second component of the installation is the SAP Business Objects Design Studio client. The Design Studio client is installed on user machines who will create analysis applications. These applications can be stored on the BI Platform server and shared with others using BI Launchpad or a mobile device. The client machine where design tool will be installed must have IE9 and 32-bit Java runtime. Design Studio 1.0 install supports JRE 1.6 or JRE 1.7. Unlike the BI Platform add-on, the Design Studio client install can be done on both 32-bit and 64-bit operating systems. In order to install Design Studio, I first need to download it from the Software Distribution Center. To download, you launch a browser window and access the link that you see on your screen. You may be prompted for authentication. Once logged on, click on Installations and Upgrades, A to Z index, D for Design Studio, and click on SPOP Design Studio. And the current version that's available for download is 1.0. Click on the version, click on Installation, and you'll see the two files that make up the installation package. You'll need to download both of these files onto your machine. I already have both of the installation files downloaded onto my server. Before I can run the installation, I'll need to extract these files. To extract, I simply select part 1 of the file, right click, and click on Extract here. I'm using WinRAR to extract the files, but you can use other utilities such as WinZip to extract the files as well. This is a self-extracting archive file. That means that if I extract part 1 of the file, part 2 of the file will automatically get extracted. Once the extraction is finished, you navigate into the folder where those files were extracted. Click on the Data Units folder, and inside the Data Units folder, you'll find 5 additional folders. The first 4 folders are the installation files for the BI Platform add-on for the various different operating systems. And the last folder here is the Design Studio client installation. Since we're interested in installing on a Windows environment, we navigate into the Windows folder here and double click on the setup.exe. A few minutes after clicking on the setup.exe, you'll see the preparing to install window. After a few minutes, you'll get to a screen where you can choose a setup language. You have an option to pick any one of these languages. Since I'm doing the install in English, I'll stick with English and click OK. The prerequisite check screen lists all of the prerequisites that need to be met before I can continue on with the installation. As you can see, there are 3 mandatory prerequisites and 3 optional prerequisites. But depending upon what I choose to install, some of the optional prerequisites may become mandatory. For example, if I'm interested in integrating analysis applications with BI Mobile, I need to make sure that when the original BI Platform server was installed, the mobile option was checked on. Since I meet all the prerequisites, I simply click Next. Click Next again. I accept the software license agreement and click Next. The Design Studio add-on installation directory needs to be the same directory where the BI4 server is installed. The installer is smart enough to pick up the installation directory of the BI4 server and automatically display it during the installation. You do not have the option to change this directory. So I simply click Next here. On this screen, you can pick which features to install. The analysis application web component is what's used to display analysis applications through BI Launchpad. It requires that the BI platform web applications be installed on the same machine. So if you chose not to install the web tier when the original BI platform installation is done, you will unselect this option. The analysis application service requires that the adaptive processing server be pre-installed. If you choose to install this option, you'll see that a new service called analysis application service will get added to the adaptive processing server running in the BI4 platform. And the last option lets you integrate Design Studio analysis applications with BI Mobile. This option requires that the BI Mobile services were pre-installed when the BI4 installation was done on this machine. I'm doing my install on a default install of BI4, so I meet the prerequisites to install all of these components. So I'll simply click Next here. On the next screen, I'll need to specify the CMS name that's part of my cluster. Since my CMS is running locally on the machine, the installer will automatically select the local machine name. And by default, the CMS runs on port 6400. So all I have to do here is to type in the password for the administrator user for my BI4 system. And click Next. Click Next again to start the installation. Once the installation is complete, you'll be prompted with the message stating that you may need to manually deploy your web application. This step would be required if you had more than one Tomcat running, or if you didn't have a default Tomcat instance running on the machine where the installation is done. In my case, I did a default install of BI4 on the server, and I have a Tomcat running on this machine, so I don't have to worry about this. So simply click Next. Click Finish to complete the installation. Once the installation is complete, you can verify whether the install went through successfully by going under Start, Control Panel, Programs and Features, and confirm that you see the Analysis Application Service for SAP Business Objects Design Studio as the list of available programs. You can also validate whether the Analysis Application Service got added successfully to the adaptive processing server running in the BI4 system. To confirm, open up a browser window and log into the Central Management Console. Click on Servers. Click on Server List. Select the adaptive processing server. Right-click and choose the option Edit Common Services. You should see the Analysis Application Service as a list of available services. As mentioned before, the Design Studio installation is made up of two components. We just recently finished installing the Design Studio BI Platform add-on. The second part of the installation is the Design Studio client. Please note that it's not a requirement to install the Design Studio BI Platform add-on before you can run the installation for the Design Studio client. These two installs are independent of each other. To start the installation of the Design Studio client, let's navigate into the folder where we extracted our installation files. And as mentioned before, the first four folders here are the add-on installation for the various different operating systems. And the last folder here is the installation for the Design Studio client. So let's navigate inside that folder. And to launch the installation, you just double click on setupall.exe. Click Next. Select SAP Business Objects Design Studio and click Next. Here you can specify which directory to install the Design Studio client. I'll leave this option as default and click Next to start the installation. It takes only a few minutes to install the Design Studio client. Once the installation is complete, click Close to close the installer. To verify whether your installation was successful, click on Start, All Programs, SAP Business Intelligence, and confirm that you see SAP Business Objects Design Studio as the list of available programs that you can launch.